In a bright and colorful underwater kingdom off Africa's coast, there lived 3 young mermaid sisters named Alia, Lina, and Tia. They were curious and loved adventures, but sometimes they didn't think things through. Their parents often warned them about the world above the water, saying it was dangerous and not for them. But the sisters were too curious about the land and its secrets. They dreamed of seeing it for themselves, even though their parents told them not to go. This story begins with their wish to explore the unknown, setting off on an adventure that would teach them more than they expected. One day, Alia, Lina, and Tia decided they had waited long enough. They wanted to see the world above the sea, the world their parents had always warned them about. "We'll be careful," they promised each other. "We'll just look and come right back." As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the sisters swam to the surface, their hearts filled with excitement and a bit of fear. As they reached the top, they took a deep breath and looked around. The land was even more beautiful than they had imagined. There were tall trees, wide beaches with golden sand, and strange creatures they had never seen before. They were so amazed by everything they saw that they forgot their parents' warnings. They played on the shore, laughing and exploring, not noticing the shadows growing longer as night approached. They didn't realize they were being watched. The sisters were so caught up in their adventure that they didn't see the danger coming. It was a decision that would soon lead them into a situation they hadn't prepared for, showing them why their parents had been so cautious about the land. As Alia, Lina, and Tia explored the new world above the sea, their eyes sparkled with the thrill of discovery. The land was filled with wonders they had never imagined. They saw trees reaching up to the sky, their leaves rustling in the wind. They marveled at birds that sang melodies so sweet it made their hearts dance. Everything was so different from their underwater kingdom, and for a moment, they forgot all the warnings their parents had given them. The sisters were fascinated by the sand that tickled their fins, and the way the moonlight danced on the surface of the water. They played in the waves, laughing and splashing each other, feeling the joy of freedom. It was a magical night, and they felt like nothing could go wrong. But their adventure took a sudden turn. While they were busy exploring, a group of fishermen from the nearby village spotted them. The fishermen couldn't believe their eyes. Mermaids were creatures of legend, stories passed down through generations. Yet here they were, real and alive. The idea of catching a mermaid filled them with excitement. They imagined the fame and fortune that capturing such mythical beings could bring. The fishermen quickly devised a plan to catch the unsuspecting mermaids. They approached quietly, hiding behind the rocks and bushes along the shore. Alia, Lina, and Tia, engrossed in their exploration, didn't notice the danger sneaking up on them. When the fishermen threw their nets, it was too sudden for the mermaids to react. They were trapped, their freedom snatched away in an instant. The sisters struggled, but the nets were too tight. The fishermen cheered, proud of their catch, as they carried the mermaids away from the beach. As they were taken further from the sea, the sisters felt a deep regret. They wished they had listened to their parents' warnings about the dangers of the land. Now, caught in a situation they had never imagined, they realized how much they had underestimated the world above the sea. The journey to the village was long and frightening. The mermaids saw the land not with wonder, but with fear. What would happen to them now? They thought of their parents and their underwater home, wondering if they would ever see it again. Their capture by the fishermen was a harsh lesson. It showed them that curiosity and adventure could lead to danger if not tempered with caution. This experience would change them forever, marking the beginning of a journey that would test their courage, their kindness, and their understanding of both the worlds above and below the sea. Caught in the fishermen's nets, Alia, Lina, and Tia felt a rush of fear and confusion. The excitement of exploring the land was replaced by the harsh reality of their situation. They were no longer free mermaids curious about the world above. They were captives, far from the safety of their ocean home. The fishermen, unable to hide their excitement, talked among themselves about the fortune they had just caught. To them, the mermaids were not scared young creatures, but a ticket to fame and wealth. As they were carried through the village, the sisters saw curious faces peeking out from the houses. Word had spread quickly, and soon a crowd gathered, eager to catch a glimpse of the mythical beings from the sea. The sisters felt exposed and vulnerable, their sparkling tails and delicate features drawing whispers and stares. The place where they were kept was a large tank filled with seawater, an attempt to mimic their natural habitat. But to Alia, Lina, and Tia, it felt like a prison. They missed the freedom of swimming vast distances, the warmth of the ocean currents, and the beauty of their underwater kingdom. Here, they could only swim in small circles, their world reduced to the confines of glass walls. Night fell, and the village quieted down, but sleep eluded the mermaids. They huddled together, drawing comfort from each other's presence. They talked in whispers about their parents, their friends, and the life they feared they might never return to. The reality of their situation weighed heavily on them. They regretted their reckless adventure and wished they had heeded the warnings given to them. But amidst the fear and regret, a spark of hope flickered. They remembered tales of humans who showed kindness to sea creatures, those who respected the ocean and its inhabitants. Perhaps, they thought, someone like that might exist in this village. Someone who could see past the fear and fascination, who could understand that they didn't belong in a tank, but in the vast, open ocean. That night, the sisters made a pact. If they found a way to escape, they would never again take their freedom for granted. They would listen to their parents' wisdom and respect the boundaries between their world and the land above. But first, they needed to find a way back to the sea, back to their home. In the heart of the village lived a kind-hearted fisherman named Kofi, who had heard the news of the mermaids' capture with a heavy heart. Unlike others who saw the mermaids as a spectacle or a path to wealth, Kofi felt a deep respect for all sea creatures. He believed the sea and its inhabitants were to be honored, not exploited. The idea of the mermaids being held captive troubled him deeply, and he knew he had to act. Under the cover of darkness, when the village was silent except for the gentle lapping of waves on the shore, Kofi made his way to where the mermaids were kept. He moved quietly, aware that getting caught would mean trouble for him, but was driven by a sense of justice and compassion. The mermaids, awake and alert, watched as a shadowy figure approached. Fear initially gripped them, but there was something in Kofi's gentle approach that eased their worries. Kofi whispered words of reassurance, telling them not to fear, that he was here to help them return to the ocean. With careful movements, he unlocked the tank and helped the mermaids out. They were weak from their confinement, but determined to regain their freedom. The journey to the beach was tense and quiet, with every rustle of the leaves making their hearts race. Once they reached the water's edge, the relief was palpable. The mermaids felt the familiar caress of the ocean waves, a balm to their stressed spirits. They thanked Kofi, their eyes shining with gratitude. Kofi simply nodded, knowing he had done the right thing. He watched as they disappeared into the depths, a smile on his face. This rescue was more than just a physical liberation for the mermaids. It was a reminder of the goodness that existed in the world, even in unexpected places. For Kofi, it reinforced his belief in respect and care for all beings. And for the mermaids, it was a lesson in caution, trust, and the unexpected kindness of strangers. With their tails gently slicing through the cool night water, Alia, Lina, and Tia felt an overwhelming sense of freedom and relief as they returned to the sea. The ocean, with its infinite depths and mysteries, welcomed them back like a mother embracing her children. The fear and uncertainty that had clouded their hearts began to fade away with each stroke towards their underwater kingdom. The sea seemed to celebrate their return, with schools of fish swirling around them in joyful dances, and the moonlight casting a silver path over the waves, guiding them home. The sisters realized how much they had missed this world, a world that was part of them as much as they were part of it. As they reached the familiar coral gates of their home, their parents were there waiting, their faces a mixture of relief and worry that turned to joy at the sight of their daughters safe and sound. The reunion was emotional, filled with hugs, tears, and laughter. The sisters shared their adventure, speaking of the kindness of the human, Kofi, who had helped them when they needed it most. This experience had changed them. They had learned the value of wisdom, the strength found in kindness, and the importance of respecting the boundaries between worlds. The ocean was their home, and they vowed to cherish it, embracing the lessons learned from their journey above the sea. After their adventurous ordeal and safe return to the sea, Alia, Lina, and Tia gathered with their mermaid friends and family to share the tale of their journey above the water. Their story was not just an exciting adventure, but also a lesson in wisdom, courage, and kindness. The sisters learned the importance of listening to those who care for us and the wisdom in their advice. They saw firsthand the consequences of acting recklessly and the value of being cautious. Their experience taught them that bravery isn't just about seeking adventures, but also about facing our mistakes and learning from them. But perhaps the most touching lesson was the kindness shown by Kofi, a human who helped them despite the risks. It was a reminder that kindness can bridge the gap between the most different of worlds, and that unexpected friendships can be the most rewarding. The sisters hoped their story would inspire others to appreciate the beauty of their own world, to listen and learn from the wisdom passed down by elders, and to always extend a hand of kindness to those in need. What do you think about the lessons Alia, Lina, and Tia learned? Have you ever experienced a situation where kindness from an unexpected source made a difference in your life? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. The adventure of Alia, Lina, and Tia, the three curious mermaids, concludes with valuable lessons for all. Their journey taught them the importance of heeding wise advice, the power of kindness, and the strength found in family and community. The morale of their story is clear. Curiosity and the desire for adventure are natural, but they must be balanced with caution and respect for the guidance of those who care for us. Moreover, the story highlights that acts of kindness can bridge worlds, showing that compassion and understanding are universal values that transcend all boundaries, whether on land or in the sea.